Welcome, everybody, to episode 25. It doesn't feel like a milestone, but actually, I'm going to consider it a milestone because 25 is, it's,
Hey now.
I mean, it's a cool number. It's halfway to 50, which is a quarter of the way to 100. So we're going to count that as a milestone.
I didn't even realize that. There we go.
It
Quarter of
is
the way
episode
there.
25. It is Blake Meyer. It is Dylan Lydell. Dylan, how you doing today, my man?
Man, I was doing all right, but then I'm bugging. I'm bugging. There we go. I think I'm back.
There
Hello,
we go.
hello.
You're back. You're back. You're back.
But yeah, some pipsqueak in Houston just got some deal, some extension wrapped up. So kind of ruined it because I hate that guy.
Yeah, I didn't think they let 5'4" players sign $100 million deals, but apparently when your name's Jose Altuve, they let you do whatever you want, including cheating. That's such an old freaking worn out joke, but you got to make it every time you mention his name, especially when you live in Seattle.
Not worn out. It's not worn out. It ain't never going to die.
It'll never get old. It'll literally never get old for us up here. If you're tired of hearing it, I don't really care. You'll be okay. But a couple, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, probably, I think we did a points league episode. It did really well. One thing we've come to realize is we enjoy playing in points leagues for fantasy baseball, and you guys really enjoy hearing points league content. It seems to be kind of the redheaded stepchild of the fantasy baseball world, but it needs a little more love. We're your stepfathers here to help guide you on this points league journey in the fantasy baseball world. Just call us stepdaddy if you feel like it. If you don't, that's also okay. But we're going to talk points leagues, but this time we're going to dive deeper into points leagues because anybody could tell you that Ronald Acuna Jr. is a good get in points leagues because he cut his strikeout rate down to like 12% last year, stole 70 bases, and hit 40 home runs. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to state the obvious. We're here to dive a little deeper. I think the plan for today is to go like pick 160 or 170 and later in drafts. Kind of the guys when you get out of the section of players where it's like, all right, I know like for sure I love these guys. Everybody loves these guys. I'm just going to take the best available guy that everybody loves. And he's going to look good on my team and I'm going to start him every week. This starts to get into the nitty gritty of the player pool where you kind of got to dig around a little bit to find those hidden gems. So Dylan, why don't you just lead us off today, dude? Who's your first guy on your list of late round points leagues? I don't want to come sleepers, but options.
Yeah, just scrolling through the list, and I'm gonna start it out with a guy we haven't talked about as much, even as Mariners fans. But I mean, this dude's Mr. Consistent. Like, I'm gonna bring up J.P. Crawford as a good guy to find later in rounds. He's not gonna flash you with power numbers, but this dude's gonna get on base. He's gonna have a high OPS. I mean, drive line, who knows? He could find some untapped power there. Video just came out last night, I think it was, or yesterday, of him taking a nice swing of drive line. So we'll see. But I mean, he's going to walk. He's not going to strike out a ton. He has a really good eye at the plate. My bet is, I don't know. You think he hits leadoff this year, right? Like that's my bet. Yeah. Absolutely. So leadoff bat, he's going to score runs with Julio backing him up. I think this Mariners top of the order is extremely underrated now with the Mitch Garver and Polanco additions. So I think JP is going to be scoring a bit more this year too. And he should be in the lineup every day. Shortstop kind of thins out once you get past the top guys. And so if you could just wait on one or choose to wait on one, JP might be a good one to aim for and target.
I agree. I know he went to Driveline last year, and it I don't even know if you can quantify what it did to his swing because for a guy that had never hit 10 home runs in a season, all of a sudden he comes one short of 20 in this last year. Jumped his average up to like 260 or 270, something like that. And his walk rate was almost 15%. It was one of the highest walk rates in all of baseball.
96 percentile.
Yeah, which is absurd. Like he seem to go into the off-season training program with the idea that I just need to get better. Like everything I'm doing is working, but it's not working well enough. So I just need to retool a lot of
Right.
what's happening. And the thing that I find interesting is last season, he had the lowest zone swing percent of his career, the lowest swing percent of his career. He only swung at 38.5% of pitches last year. But he had a great 83.5% contact rate. Swinging strike rate was very low. And he made great contact. The only part that I'm nervous about, and not even really nervous, I think 19 home runs might be the max JP home
I
run
agree.
potential. Like he might fall closer to like the 15, but I do think he can hit 275 again with 15 dingers and 30 plus doubles.
The biggest thing I think about JP is I'm not sure what kind of exact mechanical changes he might have made, but like maybe Driveline just made him realize, or the right voice got into his head and something just clicked and he realized what kind of hitter he is. He's just got to be a guy that waits for his pitch and doesn't do too much with it. But I mean, when it's just bat to ball and the guy is throwing upper nines, that's all you really got to do is just get a good touch of it and then let it fly. So who knows? It could have been a mentality change with JP too. Might have been just trying to do too much when he was first year. But yeah, I can dig a 270 JP, even if it's with anywhere from 12 to 15 bombs.
Absolutely. And he came just shy of 100 runs last year. And he's going about pick.
I think he's going to score more
right now. I easily think he's going to score more than that this year too. I think he hits triple digits in runs. Not a lot of guys do that. Not many guys going past pick 250 do that. So there's a ton of value in a guy like JP. And just for the record, so everybody knows, we are using the Fantasy Pros consensus ADP numbers for this episode. And we did take out the ESPN rankings because if you haven't looked at the ESPN rankings, they are whack. Like
they're bad, but I couldn't figure out how to do it.
You're good.
I think, yeah. I think I'm close enough. Though.
Ellie De La Cruz is going like pick 74. Luis Robert is going pick 75. Trey Turner is going pick like 35. Bobby Witt Jr. is going pick 15. Julio is going like 21. Just like it's all weird. I'm gonna do an ESPN draft tonight just for content purposes, just so you guys can see how ridiculously busted of a team you're able to draft right now. If you can weasel your way into some like ESPN money leagues, maybe. It's just ridiculous. Like the ADPs are so wrong. But yeah, so JP Crawford, great first pick.
I'm dead.
Did you find a good one?
Bad. I'm just scrolling through them. Yeah, it's bad. Logan Gilbert, 47. I love the man. Bregman, 38. Jesus Christ, what are we doing?
I think it has Garrett.
That's
Cole
the auto. That's got to be an auto draft bug.
It's weird because I know they were weird last year too, and I did not fully understand it. My first pick. First pick might be the wrong verbiage to use, but the first guy I want to highlight, that's a better way to put it, Brian Hayes. Last offseason, I was so high on Yandy Diaz. I was shouting from the mountaintops. Everybody needed to be in on Yandy Diaz because I liked some of the small little mechanical changes he had made to his swing to try and get more lift on the ball, which can be a very, very difficult thing to do just over the course of an offseason. And he had that monster power. And it paid off last year. Granted, most of his home runs did come in like the first 2 months of the season. And it tapered off towards the end, but he hit over 300, good amount of home runs. I think it's career high in home runs. Exit velocity is off the chart, barrel rate off the chart. Brian Hayes kind of feels similar for me to that. Average exit velocity last year of 92 miles an hour, which is absurd. Hits like 270. He had 15 home runs last year, which is great. I think he stole 10 bases or 7 bases. Somewhere right around there. So he went 15 and 10. Great season. But what stands out to me is Pitcherless has this stat that is ideal plate appearance percentages. It takes a player's barrels, their solid contact, their flares and burners, and then divides it by their plate appearances. it has turned into something that the more I dive into it, the more I am convinced it is like a magic crystal ball for seeing into a points league's future, because everybody on this list are guys that succeed at points leagues. Like, if you want to go guys that have gone, that had, like, we'll say Vinny P had 260 plate appearances last year. So we'll say Vinny P and up, 260 and up. Luis Arias was first. Ronald Acuna Jr. was second. Bo Bichette third. And then Freddie Freeman, Corey Seager, Yanner Diaz, Mookie Betts, Brian Hayes, Wander Franco. Shouldn't have said his name out loud. The Vinny P, and the list goes on. Like, it is just it's seemingly an
Worth the
indicator
dump button.
points.
Yeah, those, Blake, you just named good baseball players.
Yeah. And those good baseball players excel in points leagues. Brian Hayes is going to be that guy. He's made a lot of steps forward. He's already an elite defender. So he's never going to come out of the lineup when he's healthy. He makes incredibly hard contact. That really high ideal plate percentage, 8th best in baseball. He's going pick like 185-ish. Dude, he has potential. Like, I'm not even potential. In points leagues, I think he's a top 12 third baseman in points leagues. So to get him in, I'm bad at math. I'm just going to go ahead and say like the 15th round. To get him in like the 15th round,
math is hard.
That's good. Like, being able to wait on a guy like that is great. So Brian Hayes is going to be my pick.
Yeah. We haven't really seen a full season, even like a solid 140, 145 from Ke'Bryan either. He's a younger player, he's still 27 years old. I think there's reason to believe that there's we haven't seen the best of Ke'Bryan yet. And I think this could be an exciting pairing with O'Neal Cruz too.
I think that only helps him.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like a fun left side of the infield for sure.
Who's next on your list, Dylan? Who else you got for me?
Who do you prefer between Jarren Duran and James Outman? Who would you take if you had to choose one?
Category leagues, I think I'm going to lean Outman a little bit. Points leagues, I think I'm going to lean Duran a little more.
Okay.
In a points league.
Tell me why. Why is that?
I like Duran's overall extra base hit ability a little better. He doesn't have the same home run power as Outman, but if you guys read my points league primer over at Fantasy Pros, things like doubles and triples aren't really, they don't help a ton in a categories league necessarily. If a dude hits a double in a categories league, it's the same 1 for 4 with the single. It's the same as 1 for 4 with the double or 1 for 4 with the triple. In a points league where it counts total bases, all of a sudden those doubles and those triples become worth 2 and 3 points. And that adds up very quickly. There was a point last year where Jarren Duran wasn't even a qualified hitter in baseball, but he still led baseball with like 34 doubles.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And Fenway plays for that a lot too. So he's in the right park for his play style. Yeah. I can't disagree. I think they're not similar players, but it's just kind of pick and choose, like you said. I could see the vision though. But yeah, James Outman, I think, because this is a guy who still walked a little bit. He just, I think, got to cut down the Ks. I think the power just intrigues me with Outman a little bit more. I think the biggest thing, if he can even just get down to where Duran was at with his case, down to like 25%, and that's a big jump going from 32 to 25. Like, that's a huge jump. But like, still walked out a 12% clip. Didn't chase a whole lot. I think if you can just really focus on cutting down the strikeouts, getting good pitches to hit, being more disciplined at the plate, I think I think Outman can also be an intriguing option. I mean, they were similar in extra base hits last year. Outman with 42. Oh, wrong guy. And how many? and Duran was at 44. But yeah, biggest thing, if Outman can cut down on the Ks, I think I lean with the power a little bit more.
I feel
that Dodgers lineup.
And we got to see if Duran can repeat again. He had a good 100
Right.
games, which I like was a very good 100 games. I get that. He was the epitome of a post hype sleeper last year. He was a guy, a better prospect for the good part of many years there, and then kind of got written off because he just wasn't doing a whole lot. Comes in, plays an excellent 100 games, which is
Mhm.
cool, but we got to see him repeat it because it was a little bit of a streaky year last year. So we'll see how that goes. Mike, what up, my man?
Oh, this your boy,
Excellent follow
Nolan.
on Twitter. Everybody go check out Mike on Twitter. Thoughts on Nolan Jones. I love Nolan Jones. I do have my reservation. Let's go back and forth here. I love Nolan Jones because in 100 games, he put up a 2020 season. 2020 seasons aren't as rare now with the bigger bases and the new base ceiling rules. It's a little easier to get to 2020, but to do it in 100 games, only a handful of guys have that ability. He plays with Coors Field as his home park, which will always be beneficial to hitters, which is great. The Rockies seem to have no problem letting guys run when they get on base, which is also great for Nolan Jones. The downside, exactly. The downside is the BABIP. He had a BABIP over 400, which is not sustainable. Nobody does that over the course of an entire year. So the BABIP's going to come down, which is going to bring down the average. And it's just a matter of how that plays out over the course of the year. I don't think that affects his home run hitting ability or his stolen base numbers much. Maybe the stolen base is a little bit if he's on base a little less, but he did also strike out almost 30% of the time. So in a points league, I ding him a little bit. I'm curious to see how the league plays out, but I think I have him. Man, it's been a couple days since I looked at my rankings. I think I have him as like outfield 17 or something like that. So I still have high hopes for him. I'm just not sure quite where the ceiling and the floor are for him going into next year. Kind of like what I just said for Duran. He had a good 100 games, which is awesome. But Dustin Ackley once had a good 100 games as well, and Mariners fans know how that really panned out because it didn't. So we'll have to see how it plays out from there. But I do like Nolan Jones. I just have my reservations a little bit. For my list of guys though, next for me would be Lars Nootbaar. I've been preaching in Lars we trust for the better part of 2 years now. If the man could stay healthy, I would be even happier so that we could see like what a full, like even 150 games of Lars Nootbaar can do. But nobody in baseball outside of like Juan Soto and Kyle Schwarber really walk at a rate that Lars Nootbaar does. So that automatically helps him in those points leagues. Always has a good barrel rate right around 10%. And he's got like power steal combo. I think he went 14 and 11 last year. Quantify that over 150 games. He could be closer to 18 or 19 home runs and 20 stolen bases. He's flirting with 2020 while he can hit 270 and walk like 15% of the time. That's a great points league player. And I think he's going right around pick 200. I think it's like 202 or 203, somewhere right around there. So I'm all in on Lars. I think that Cardinals lineup performs better this year than it did last year when it
has to. Kind of
it
surprised
very
they
much
didn't.
underachieved.
Yeah, kind of surprised they didn't either tear down or really add. They just kind of stayed neutral and stayed put for the most part.
I'm surprised too, but I wonder if they did it for the same reason you just said. Like it has to be better. Like it's a good lineup.
Yeah, I mean,
It
yeah.
has to perform better this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I didn't
chalk last
realize.
year up to shit that didn't work and then
Yeah,
move on.
I didn't realize Lars was 6'3", 210. That's a big dude. Yeah, good, real disciplined hitter. Chase rate in the 98th percentile, really good. Walk rate, 95th percentile, really good. Doesn't strike out a whole lot, under 20%. Yeah, it's just a lot of these guys we talk about, and it's unfortunate. Can he stay healthy? Lars definitely has the tools. Who knows what this Cardinals ceiling is anymore? They're getting older with some aging veterans being their best players. But yeah, if you can snag Lars late, there's a lot of upside with him. Just gotta get on the field and stay healthy.
They do great fourth outfielder. If you get him as your fifth outfielder, even better. But great fourth outfielder. when you've likely probably already got, I mean, assuming it's a 5 outfielder league, assuming you've already got like a trio of solid options there at outfield, and you slide someone like a Lars Nootbaar in there in a points league for your 4th outfielder, you get the on base percentage that comes with that good walk rate. You get power and stolen base upside with a decent floor for his batting average. He's going to hit around 260-ish, which you can live with, especially in today's game where only a handful of people hit over. I think 9 people hit 300 last year. That's weak. Like in the 90s, everybody was hitting over fucking 300. That was like 9 people hitting over 300 for a season. So great 4th outfielder. Even better 5th outfielder if you go heavy on the outfield there. I do love Lars, and I love the fact that you were surprised at how big he is, because that was my same reaction when I saw how big he was. He's one of those dudes that when you hear Lars Nootbaar, you just think like, all right, he's probably like 5'10", 170. Like that falls into like the Lars Nootbaar, like what I feel when I think about the name. But then see he's like 6'3", 210. I'm like, damn, he's
big dude,
taller than me. That's crazy.
Big dude.
All right, Dylan, who you got next, my man?
We haven't talked about this guy once. He just earned his big league camp invite for spring training. Are you pulling the trigger if you see Jackson Holliday late in the draft to get your hands on him?
Oh.
Are you buying in this early?
It depends on the league. It depends on the league.
Same kind of scenario as last.
8 and 10 team league, no, I'm passing on Jackson Holliday. 12 team league, I only want Jackson Holliday in a 12 team league right now if it's like expanded rosters. Like if you've got like 30-man rosters in a 12 team league, I'm probably taking Holliday a little later. I know there's some guys that are big on like absolutely take him, like he's going to be a fucking stud, because he is. He's going to be really, really good. I just don't have a good feel for when he's going to be up. So I'm hesitant. Okay. He could start the year on the opening.
That's kind of been my hunch. Yeah, I thought that was my feeling. That's all. Yeah,
there's a good chance that he could. There's a very good chance that he could, especially if he shows out in spring training, which honestly I don't know why he wouldn't. He hit at every level last year. I don't know if we were having this same talk like on like March 15th. Shout out my brother Alex. That's his birthday. That was random. If we're having the same talk on like March 15th, I'd probably be like, you know what? Yeah, I would absolutely take Jackson Holliday right now. But like at this moment, I don't know. But points leagues, he's going to be a fucking nightmare. Like you're going to want him. You're going to want to start him. If it's a keeper league, you're going to want to keep him. Honestly, if it's a keeper league, if he's not already on a roster right now, he probably should be. Dynasty, he was taken last year, but yeah. But keeper league, there's a chance there.
As prospects, obviously it's an easy question to answer right now. But as prospects, kind of like looking in towards their debuts, like how does he compare to Bobby Witt? I know. I mean, obviously, one's lefty, one's righty, but other than that, their game.
Much better hit tool than Bobby Witt. I think the power's probably about the same as rookie Bobby Witt. Witt was faster, so better hit tool, similar power, not the speed Bobby Witt has. So could be just an on the fly projection. Don't kill me if I'm way off on this. If he plays a full season of at bats, I want to say Jackson Holliday could probably hit 280 with 20 home runs and steal 10 12 bases.
Yeah,
not bad.
Man, they're not giving him a whole bunch of love for the power numbers. I think that swing's got more than 10 bombs in it.
I think it does too, especially if he's anything like his dad in the power department.
Only 185, but that doesn't hold those guys at 185 back. There's been dudes that have dropped bombs at 185. Who knows? I mean, maybe getting a little bigger won't hurt him, but
yeah.
I mean, I think he should still be athletic enough to play short, even if he does get a little bit of weight. I don't know. He's got more than 10, 15 bombs in him. Not way more, but he's got more than that.
Here you go. Mike says going to be playing some second base in spring training. I think that could fit him well. They have a very loaded, young roster and player pool there. So getting him somewhere in the infield.
A lot of
I know second base,
there.
second and short are different, but I feel like they can be similar enough that guys that are your typical shortstop could transition to second base fairly easily. So I like it. I do like him this year. Don't let me make you think I don't like him. I do like him.
No, I mean it's a tough tell. He's the number one prospect in the game right now. Yeah, it was just, it's we haven't talked about him, and season's right around the corner, and I think we're kind of looming on him coming up. So yeah, I think he's also an intriguing option if you're looking for just straight upside and full boom potential.
Papa and Baby Bear, what up, my man? Good to see you in the chat again. Said Duran all day. I do love me some Duran. I love him in all league types. He's great in late category leagues, points leagues. Fucking monster. My next one is going to be somebody that, admittedly, when I first did my my rankings for Fantasy Pros, I was very low on him, and admittedly, I don't know if I've gone and changed them since the beginning. I tweaked my rankings around a little bit. You guys can go find those on Fantasy Pros under the expert ranking section. You can find my rankings there. Don't check my top 300 yet. I haven't updated my top 300 because I realized we're just going to spill it all out there. When you rank on Fantasy Pros, I do it by position, and then it automatically correlates everybody into my top 300 based on how I have them per position. Makes life pretty easy. Right now, my freaking top 300 is only 240 players, and I checked, and it's got 65 players just not in my top 300. So I have to go add them one by one, which I'll do. I do it every year. It'll be done. It's just I looked at that number of how many guys were in my top 300, and I was like, "Fuck, that's gonna take me so goddamn long to do." And I didn't do it the other day. But check the positional rankings over the top 300. But anyways, that's a long-winded way to say my next guy is Luis Campusano for San Diego, catcher. I think I had him pretty freaking far down my list. He will go up much higher. He should be. I think he's gonna be starting for San Diego this year. And then I'm going to use that same ideal plate appearance percentage. He was the number one player in baseball in ideal plate appearance percentage rate last year. Almost 40%. There's a lot to love there in a points league. He doesn't strike out a ton. Minimal games last year, but he still hit 7 home runs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And in his career at the major league level, he's got an average exit velocity just shy of 90 miles an hour. Strikeout rate, I think, below 20%. San Diego is not necessarily the greatest lineup anymore, but there's still some room for him to thrive there. He's likely going to be batting closer to that 9 hole, which will limit his plate appearances. But this is why he's a later round pick. Great for a 2-catcher league. And he's great in a points league if you really, really, really just really feel like you're taking your catcher last. You're comfortable with the catchers that are out there. Catcher's probably just going to be your last pick in that range. Campusano, great choice. I think in ESPN Standard League, you love a guy that scores you 2 points a game. That's kind of like the benchmark for somebody that is usually roster worthy, about 2 points a game. If you play on Yahoo, it's been a minute since I played on a Yahoo one. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I think the number's closer to 3. It's for a starter. But ESPN's 2. Campusano is going to be right around that 2 points per game in an ESPN points league, which is just a solid, safe catcher to go with there. In a 2-catcher league, he makes a great second catcher. I want to lean more towards 2-catcher leagues this year because I don't think they get enough love. Catcher, in my opinion, overall has gotten much better this year compared to years past. I have 16 guys that I think are starter-worthy catching options, not including Campusano. So I got 17 guys now that are starter-worthy catching options. So I think leaning more towards a 2-catcher league is more fun. Spreads the love a little bit. And catcher's really the only position that you just play one of them. It's kind of like a DH. You got one, and that's it. Campusano, keep your eye on him. Great IVO plate appearance percentage, IPA percentage. I'm just going to go with that because it's a mouthful. Makes good contact, good zone contact, doesn't strike out a lot, hits a good amount of line drives, does everything you want. Downside is that 9 spot in the batting order. Everything else, great option. Did you have another guy for me there, Dylan?
What about Noelvi? I know it's kind of a crowded infield, but I think the bat's got some upside.
I love Noelvi. You make great options because I'm catching myself saying that to everyone that you say. I I love Noelvi. I wish he was still in our farm system in Seattle, but
he would have been so nice to have right now. Yeesh.
He got his call last year. He had a great stretch of 35 games there, 3 home runs, 6 stolen bases, drove in 15, scored 15, struck out only 20% of the time while hitting 316.
Yeah.
A lot to like there. Upside plus plays at Great American Ballpark, which is incredible. Plus. I mean, it made Jesse Winker look like an all-star. So it could do a lot of things for a lot of people. I think Noelvi's good enough that he should get consistent at bats. I don't think that crowded infield is going to affect him too much. It will a little bit because they are going to kind of cycle guys through sitting just because they're so stacked. But I love Noelvi. He has good power and speed upside. I don't think he flirts with batting 300 again. Seeing him do that last year, I think was wild. His hit tool is not quite that good for me.
Batting average was 295,
which is crazy. ATC has him closer to 266 for this year. I like him in that range, like a 255 hitter. Full season of at bats, he's just another 2020 guy for the Reds. Awesome pick there. Third base eligibility, he might sneak in like shortstop eligibility somewhere if you're lucky. Love Noelvi. Ton of upside there. Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I think a lot of people should have him on their later round big board. Did you see that in one of the big NFBC drafts, he went like first overall?
Shooting for the stars, my boy.
For real.
Way to go.
That's a drunk pick if I've ever seen one, or somebody that's just trying to catch somebody's eye for some reason. Because first overall, and then Acuna didn't even go second. I think it went Noelvi first, and then Bobby Witt second, and then the dude that had the third pick got Acuna. It's like the luckiest third pick ever. I would
imagine how many backflips they did. Probably like
I'd have done a ton. I was checking my TGFBI lineup last year earlier today, and I had the second pick. Jose Ramirez went 1-1 in my draft. I got Acuna last year. Jose Ramirez went 1-1 to Sarah Sanchez. Shout out Sarah Sanchez. Now my colleague at Pitcher List.
I got Acuna last year, but I can't remember what pick that I had.
Yeah, Acuna was going anywhere from like 2 to 4 last year, depending on the league
I was 4.
You were in.
That sounds right.
Because you did get him, and I think you were picked 4. A few people went early. I know Julio went before. Aaron Judge went before him.
I would have picked Julio, and hindsight, I can't lie. I would have picked Julio if he was on the board over Acuna too. Man, that's the guy. Shout out C-Town.
I'm hoping to get a couple shares of Julio this year in fantasy. I'm going to be doing a bunch of leagues this year, and this is the perfect segue for us to just mention. For those of you that listen to the podcast or watch us live, we are working on putting together a listener league. But what started out as a league that was probably just going to be like a cool little 12-team roto league type situation, I have quickly come to realize that there is more of you guys than I had expected. And more of you guys that want to play than I had expected. And some of my friends in the industry also would like to be a part of this as well. So I am thinking about having us turn this into a much bigger kind of mix of listeners. Those who either read my content that love us and some of my friends from the industry, kind of listeners and experts, all in one big thing. I am working on. Who knows if it'll happen? I shouldn't jinx anything or put anything out there that's not going to happen. But I'm in talks to try and work on getting us a nice, big, fat, cool trophy for the winner. That every year, whoever wins the league takes number one overall. You'll get your name engraved on the trophy, and you'll get to hold it for a year. So, if you're listening to this or watching this live, and you would like to be part of the listener league, it's likely to be on Fantrax. I haven't set it up yet, but I am taking names for people that are interested and would like to be in it. So hit us up on Twitter is probably the easiest way. You can hit us up on our at Fake Baseball Twitter. Hit up Dylan at DLidell_09 or me at Balake with 2 H's. Let us know you're in for the league. But I think that's a cool transition also to say I appreciate y'all for listening. Hit us up with a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you listen on. We are on, I counted earlier, we are on 20 different podcast streaming platforms. We are on YouTube at Fake Baseball Pod. We are on Twitter at Fake Baseball. We are on TikTok at Fake Baseball Pod. We are on Facebook. Shout out everybody watching on Facebook right now. We are live on Facebook. Just search the Fake Baseball Podcast. We're literally everywhere, dude. We even have a Twitch affiliate account that we don't even use, but we will one of these days. We'll get back to streaming on there. Maybe we'll stream some MLB The Show or something.
I was just about to say that. Like that'd be a cool idea. Hey, I was just about to say that same damn thing. Game comes out in what, like a little over a month?
Yep. So I think that's a good idea. We'll get on that just as like when we're not recording on here, just set it up to where both of us can go live on there. So whoever's down to play some MLB The Show, just hop on there and play, chat with you guys, have some fun. But we appreciate y'all. Oh, we have a cool ass guest coming on Thursday. We hinted at it with Nick Pollock on our episode with him. Go back and listen to that from last week. Very, very cool guest. Hint, he's currently at a spring training facility at the moment. He will be joining us on Thursday. But until then, we will catch you guys next time.